Welcome, Rotarians and guests to the Rotary Club of York, where our mission is to improve life in the city of York by connecting our club's diverse community leaders through fellowship, action, and service. I am your president, Courtney Piccolo, and as you know, we start off all of our meetings by reciting the four-way test. If you would please join me. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Today, our opening song, America the Beautiful, and the pledge will be led by Deb Harrison, followed by the invocation with past President Glenn Miller and visitor introductions by Kathy Dempsey.
Please join me. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. Please prepare yourselves for prayer in the manner in which you are accustomed. Hear the words of the prophet Jeremiah, the 29th chapter. But seek the welfare of the city where I have sent you, and pray to the Lord on its behalf. For its welfare, you will find your welfare. Gracious God, we pray this day and give thanks this day for this city, for our city of York. We are grateful for blessings of growth and renewal that we see even in the midst of challenges. We are grateful for leaders who are committed to the betterment of our city and our county and its people. We are grateful for this club and for our renewed commitment to serving our city and its people. We thank you for our speakers today and for the work of the YCEA and the Redevelopment Authority. and for the visionary leadership of these organizations that have transformed the landscape of our community for the better. Bless, we pray you, the food we have received, the hands that have prepared and served it, and the fellowship that we have enjoyed. To you, the one God of many names, we pray. Amen.
I am pleased to have the honor of introducing our guests for today's meeting. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing until President Courtney has welcomed you. Joseph Young, guest of Frank Countess. Mandy Strivik, guest of John Eister. Blanda Nace, guest of Mike Black. Melissa Rosario, guest of Mike Black. Sandy Walker, guest of Jules Tolbert. And Paul Kroger, guest of Tom Caltagirone.
On behalf of the Rotary Club of York, I'd like to extend a heartfelt welcome to all of our visitors today. It's always a pleasure to have new faces join us, whether you're here for the first time or returning. Rotary is all about connecting, serving, and making a positive impact on our community, and we're excited to have you here with us. Rotarians, please help me welcome our visitors. And now for some announcements. Past presidents Mike and Jackie Summers are celebrating Jackie's recent retirement with a trip to France, possibly enjoying quite a bit of wine tasting. They shared this photo from Lyon, France, where they spotted a familiar sign. You can see the Rotary wheel. Next, the SPD Speedy Committee will meet today at 1:30 here at the Country Club in the wine room. The Youth Exchange Committee meets tomorrow at noon on Zoom, and the Membership Engagement Committee will meet on April 22nd at 4 p.m. on Zoom. Tomorrow is our birthday. It's the 109th anniversary, yes, of the first Rotary Club of York meeting that was held on April 17th, 1916. And it took place at the Colonial Hotel on Continental Square, where Morgan Geip, organizer, was elected president. And dues the first year were $10 a member for the whole year. Don't get any ideas. All right, at this time, I would like to welcome past President Al Sykes and Phil Woods to the podium to give a youth service project update regarding York City Little League.
Al's not speaking because we have 2 minutes.
Move over.
See?
Jeez, what were you thinking? No, that's your part. Okay, those of you who know baseball, okay, you all know what the hidden ball trick is, right? So I'd like to point out to our esteemed leader that the hidden ball trick does not involve a basketball under your skirt. It's a little more subtle than that. But our esteemed leader, who's due any minute, has volunteered to throw out the first ball at our opening day ceremonies this coming Saturday. And in honor of that, we have a couple of t-shirts for her.
Perfect.
With
The number
mother
2 on the
of-
back.
and for-
Thank you.
and
This
she-
one's to match
she's
the
number
car.
4. You're very welcome.
Okay, now I'll let Phil do the serious part.
Just a reminder, about 2004, Rotary Club of York was instrumental in leading a capital campaign to renovate and restore fields at Rotary Fields at Allen Park, also Rotary Fields at Odeon Park. So with that initial effort, we've been continued with programming since then, and we now maintenance 7 total fields in the city of York, due in part a lot by the continued support from a lot of members of this club and the club as a whole. Wanted to also remind you, the Yorktown Hotel, there's a mural on the side that depicts a baseball field and players and fans and spectators as an honor to the Little League activity with York City Little League. So each spring and summer, over 200 boys and girls aged 4 to 19 play baseball and softball in York City Little League. They travel around the county playing other teams as well. We also host a lot of teams from across the county. In the fall, we have over 100 participants continue on in a second season, our fall season. And soon we'll be building an indoor batting cage facility at Rotary Fields in Allen Park. and that will allow us to do year-round programming. A lot of our players sit idle during the winter. That will give some indoor space for us to do some continued training and activity. As it relates to the mission of the Rotary Club of York, Little League's mission is read as such. Little League believes in the power of youth baseball and softball to teach life lessons that build stronger individuals and communities. So following this mission, York City Little League certainly helps cultivate youth success, and our stewardship of those 7 fields certainly helps improve the York City environment. We hope that we receive continued support. Jennifer Seal will be singing the national anthem at our opening day ceremony this Saturday at Rotary Fields at Allen Park at 1 p.m. So if you'd like to come out, enjoy the day, give her support as she sings with her beautiful voice. We'd love to see all of you there. And again, thank you for the continued support.
I'd also like to point out that we have a cap for Courtney, which really doesn't match either of those shirts, but you can wear it for baseball or small game hunting.
Thank you, Al and Phil. Hopefully on Saturday, you keep a glove handy in case there's more than a baseball to catch on that day. All right. See, I can be funny too, right? All right. All right. In other baseball news, we'll go back to our other baseball slide here. As a reminder, we're going to be hitting the road next week for our annual club meeting at the York Revolution. So if we want to go back to the York Revolution slide. And just remember, to attend, you do need to register yourself. And if you have any guests, please register them in advance. We do have a head count for food. So please don't just show up because we might not have enough food for everybody. But on your tables, if you look at the QR codes, you can register now. Today is the last day to register for next week's meeting. So please do that today. And now I would like to invite Pavle, I'm always going to mess up your last name, Badanovic, to the podium to give us a Give Local York update.
It is Badavinac, Courtney, but that I've had every variation in the book, so it's all good and you did great. So I am here to give an update on Give Local York. Once again, our Rotary Club will be taking part in Give Local York, which takes place on May 1st and 2nd. There are a lot of great causes to support, and I hope everyone will get online and donate to the local charities that touch your heart. I'm also asking you to please remember to include the Rotary Club of York when making your gifts. This year, all donations to our club through Give Local York will go to the York Rotary Foundation's new fund, the People of Action Fund. The People of Action Fund will allow our club to address needs that arise and support projects that will have the greatest impact on our mission and our community. Your support of the Rotary Club of York through Give Local York will help us make a huge difference in the lives of York City youth, improve the York City environment, and support community development opportunities. To give, you can go online on May 1st or 2nd at givelocalyork.org. Again, that's givelocalyork.org, and search for Rotary Club of York and make a gift through the online system. All gifts, no matter how large or small, will have an impact as they are pulled together with your fellow Rotarian donations and help leverage our Give Local York stretch pool funds. Thanks, everyone, and I'm looking forward to everybody participating in Give Local York.
Thank you, Pavle. And now I invite District Governor nominee designate Aaron Jacobs to the podium to share with you an announcement around our club's involvement with a tree pod project that's going to be going on in York City.
Thank you, President Courtney. That really was the announcement. No, if Al gets time at the podium, so do I. So we do have a big announcement today, which I think is well timed with the RDA presentation and having our City Council President Sandy Walker with us. Unless you've lived in a well-fortified cave, no doubt over the last week, you've probably heard this news already, either in the newspaper or on the evening news, or heaven help you, on social media. But another partnership with the City of York, and as a companion to the project we did in Continental Square, and to fulfill our mission to support the lives of people in the city of York, we have another very, very large and significant tree planting project coming up this fall. Mike, could you give us the next slide? So I'm going to give you the what, and then I'm going to give you the why. And the what is this. There are Bradford pears that are on Market Street all over the place. We're not doing all of them, but from Pershing, right by the Gates House Plow Tavern, all the way up to Duke, to the Yorktown Hotel, we will be removing all of the Bradford pears. It's somewhere between 40 and 50 trees we are going to be removing of various size and age. And these will be replaced with a mixture of native and urban shade trees. Some of them will be in the wells, and we're going to actually be creating tree planters on the corners to help give some variance to that. Can I have the next slide, Mike? But let me give you the why. And some of you who may have seen this on social media, you'll find that we have an abundance of tree experts in our community. Exactly. Those who said you should replace them with magical fruit trees that you can grab and eat anytime you want. But nonetheless, here's the reality of it, is the Bradford pears have gotten to an age where they are becoming dangerous. In fact, if you walk downtown, you'll see many of them are cracked, wired, and so forth, that they're now becoming a danger to the pedestrians, the buildings, and the vehicles in that area. So that's the primary reason. In addition to that, you'll also notice that along Market Street, we have an inconsistent canopy between old and new. It's just kind of worn out now. And furthermore, if you didn't know this, Bradford pears are the no-no tree. They're considered an invasive species and no longer desirable in the urban or forestry environment. And frankly, downtown needs a fresh new look. So that's the big motivator for doing that. And Mike, if I could have one more slide, please. So here is the when and the how. We're going to be doing this in October of 2025, and we're going to be needing about 75 volunteers at least. Or if you're doing Rotary math, that's 25 JT hands. But point being, I wanted to make sure you heard it from me about what this is going on. This will be the biggest tree project we have ever done in the almost 15 years that we've been doing tree projects. So stay tuned for more details. Thank you, President Courtney.
Thank you, Aaron. And now I invite Frank Countess to the podium to introduce our speakers for today.
Thank you, President Courtney. We have two great speakers this afternoon who are going to tell us about some exciting downtown development projects. Many of you know our first speaker, Kim Hogeman. Kim is the Assistant Vice President of the Economic and Community Development for the York County Economic Alliance. Kim and her team oversee a broad portfolio of economic projects and programs, including capital projects, business attraction and retention, economic development grants and financing, York County trail towns, municipal outreach, and the staffing of several county governmental entities such as the York County Land Bank Authority. Kim is a graduate of Dover Area High School, Pennsylvania State University, and is a certified project management professional. In her spare time, Kim and her husband, Bruce, prefer to travel as often as possible. But when home, they can be found in their backyard garden doing garden things or doing race car things at race car places. You can tell she wrote this, not I. One final note that she did not include in the bio that she forwarded to me was the fact that she's incredibly humble. So this is my opportunity to try to make her blush. But she did not mention anywhere in her bio that she spent a scant 7 years of her professional career working on the Yorktown Hotel project. She co-spearheaded that with Jack Kay. Obviously, many people were involved in that large project, but clearly was co-spearheaded by Kim Hogeman and Jack Kay. So the entire community really owes her a debt of gratitude for devoting so much of her time to that project. And the Yorktown Hotel apparently agrees because they had her wedding as the first wedding. So now to our second speaker, Many of you also know our second speaker, who is our own fellow Rotarian, Mike Black. Michael is the owner and founder of Black Consulting and Black and Duke Enterprises. Mike and his associates specialize in business development and cost reduction strategies. Mike has been a member of the York City Redevelopment Authority for 25 years. He has been the chair of the board for the last 8 years. He has also been involved with the York County Land Bank Authority since its inception in 2019. He's the vice chair of that board. Mike is a lifelong resident of York City. He graduated from York Catholic High School and attended Stevens State School of Technology. In his spare time, Mike loves to travel and is an avid sports fan. And his favorite teams include Penn State football and the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Mike's significant other is Mandy, and they have a dog, Reese. Another thing I wanted to mention is to be a member of the York City Redevelopment Authority, you get appointed by the mayor and you get confirmed by city council, and that's a 4-year appointment. So Mike has probably been on that board for 3 or 4 different mayors. The good sign that Sandy Walker's here. Perhaps you'll reconfirm him next time. On the York County Land Bank Authority, that is an appointment from the York County Commissioners, and they also reappoint every 4 years. So apparently Mike is in good standing with the politicians. So without further ado, Kim and Mike, why don't you come up here and enlighten us with your presentation? And by the way, they're both my bosses, so I had to be nice to them.
Thank you. All right.
I'm going first here. Do you want to introduce yourself at all? Or no? All right. Hi, I'm Mike Black, Chairman of the Redevelopment Authority of the City of York and Vice Chairman of the York County Land Bank Authority. And Kim and I will be talking about some of the development opportunities downtown in the City of York today. Here's a list of some of the projects we're going to talk about. The Redevelopment Authority of the City of York was established in 1950 by the Urban Redevelopment Law. Although our role in the community has expanded greatly over the years, in the simplest terms, redevelopment authorities were created to get properties that have been deemed blighted back in the tax rolls. Our board consists of 5 members, fellow Rotarians Joyce Santiago. I think I saw you somewhere, Joyce. Say hi back there. And Frank Countess. And our other 2 members are Hannah Beard and our newest member, who was so new she got approved by council last night, former member of our club, Melissa Rosario. We're staffed by Blandon Ace, and our solicitor is Don Hoyt of MPL Law Firm. With Melissa's appointment, our next board meeting will be an historic one, as I'm pretty sure this will mark the first time that the RDA has met with the majority of the board being both women and people of color. So yay, RDA. As I mentioned, the RDA has had 75 years of impact in the city of York. In fact, researching for this presentation, we discovered the anniversary of the RDA being established was April 4th of 1950. So 2 days removed from our 75th birthday. As you may have seen in a press release last week, the RDA has no structures available, physical structures for the first time in many years. Yes, it is applause worthy there. We do currently own 139 lots or sites. 63 parcels are under agreement with 95 available. You're probably saying to yourself, that doesn't add up. And you would be correct. The reason for that being is that there can be multiple parcels as part of one lot or site. So I assure you we are capable of simple arithmetic at the RDA. So with that, I'll turn it over to Kim to introduce the Land Bank Authority.
Thanks. Hi, everybody. Kim Hogeman, York County Economic Alliance, and I'm representing several different government entities today, but one of the main ones is the York County Land Bank Authority, which Mike is the vice chair. Very similar to the RDA, they focus on the remediation of blighted properties. And that happens through a variety of ways, but they do mainly administer a demolition grant program, which is very fun, very exciting, a lot of feel-good stuff, and you'll see some of the impact that they've had. It is a fairly new, of all the government authorities we have in the county, this one is the newest. It was approved by ordinance in 2018 and then began operating in 2019. But in that time, they've done 50 demolition projects, which some of them have been large clusters of homes or very small, or big buildings, small buildings, but totaling 50 projects. About 2.5 million in grants have been given out, and that leverages over 135 million in economic impact, which is incredible. So, and you'll see some of those projects as we go through, but we have a lot of projects to cover, so I'm going to just start blowing through them if that's okay. Good? All right. So Ballpark Commons, if you're not familiar, this is a gateway into the city. This is right in front of Wellspan Park. That is a rendering of what we hope to have there. It'd be a really nice entry into the city. Right now you see the grassy lot where they had bright nights over the winter, which was really cool. Great use of the space. So we've got some bullet points up here. And I just want to say, not all these projects are our projects. There's, we're going to be shouting out to several different other people that are doing really cool things downtown. But this is a partnership between the Industrial Development Authority, York Professional Baseball Club, and Royal Square. When it's all said and done, I don't think I have it on there. We have it at the end, the total impact, but next slide, please. So the Zion Lutheran Church, this was in the news since I made this slide, so I don't think it says that we did receive a grant recently, which is very exciting. But the Zion Church is directly behind the Yorktown Hotel. It has been vacant for 30 years, since 1995. So it is, and it was built in 1850, so it's very old, but it thankfully has very good bones, which helped write a grant, which we received last week from the Main Street Matters program through Governor Shapiro for $500,000, which will go towards stabilization of the building. So this is an interim phase. We'll do some masonry repointing, roof replacement, and that will tee up the next final phase design for making it an event space and community space and bringing it back into the public use. So very exciting, very cool space. Always happy to give a tour if anybody wants to do a group tour. And then, oh, right there it is. It's a very beautiful space. So we actually really do want to have it be part of the Yorktown Hotel campus. But in addition to that, use it for community good. Perhaps we can have artist, events there. We can have Saturday markets. There's all sorts of things that we could do to make sure that it's activated on a regular basis and not just for weddings and events. But right now the Yorktown can only, as you guys know, they have a very small ballroom and they can only attract certain events. Certain weddings are capped. We can't have RFPs for really large conferences because there's no exhibit hall and a ballroom. So having this space would really be able to open up for larger events. And the Yorktown Hotel, I've talked about that a lot over the last few years, but right now we're focusing on the commercial spaces. What, you guys know is probably the off-center grill, the restaurant at the street. We've been trying to recruit a third-party tenant for several years, and it's just not going to happen. It's too expensive. Liquor licenses cost too much. It's just too heavy of a lift. So right now we're focusing on, and when I say we, I mean the Industrial Development Authority, building it themselves. So we're writing grants. We're meeting with partners. We're trying to generate some funding. But if we can, raise a certain amount of funds, then we can fit it out ourselves. The hotel can run the restaurant and we can reactivate that space and have some street dining and things like that. So we're very excited. We would really like to see a steakhouse, something that complements what we already have downtown. We don't really have a true steakhouse. So, we really want to focus on having something in that space that we're not duplicating what we already have, because we have a really great selection of restaurants. So we're aiming for some type of steakhouse. There's some statistics up there, but it's really neat. Yep, there we go. And lastly, we have the Duke Street corner. So that used to be People's Bank. Before that, it was a travel agency and other things. It's a small space, but it would be a really great touristy shop or grab and go kind of things. Maybe some York made products, people coming and going into the garage. We'll see. Stay tuned. And the Cadorus Greenway, that's another really big one. We've been working on that behind the scenes for the last 6 years, and it's probably going to take another 6. So this is a 1.5 mile stretch of the Cadorus Creek that runs through the city, and we will be working with the Army Corps of Engineers to update the levee system, to grade the banks, to gain access to the creek from all the neighborhoods and the businesses, add walking trails, public art, and all these other amenities that really make the creek an asset for our community. You go to any other city and they have a water feature and it's beautiful and everybody can get to it. Right now, there's riprap and fencing, and you don't really want to go down and touch the water. But when this is all done, it'll have a healthier water flow and fish, and it'll be a navigable creek. So anyway, there we go. There's some renderings. So we're very excited. We're 6 years into design, and we're now in the permit process. So we've submitted our full permit to the Army Corps of Engineers, DEP, and EPA. So we're under review. We are, fingers crossed, fully funded. If the federal funding still comes through, we are fully funded for this phase. So we're anticipating 35, 40 million, but we are on hold until further notice, till we hear back from the federal government. So everybody cross your fingers and hope we get through this. But it's a great project and we're really excited, and I think it'll be okay. And we did remove the Basco Gate Dam very recently, which now you can see it's just a nice flow. It's very clean. You can already see the health of the water changing. It's improved a lot. So, and I'm sure everyone in the Commerce Building enjoys the view a little bit better. And then the downtown post office, a really cool space. It's a really challenging space, but we do have control of that now. So we can start to think through design, what would make sense for the community, what would make sense for the city, and hopefully we can start recruiting some development in that space. But it has been privately owned since the United States Post Office shut it down. But now that we have it under control with our government entities, we can work with our partners and perhaps put out an RFP in the fall and see what we can generate some interest. And then this is another really cool one, but we've got some behind the scenes urban wireless work happening. This is in conjunction with our Yoko fiber running that trunk line all the way through, but we're going to be deploying some free public wireless throughout both York City and Hanover Borough. And the CSX parcel, we need a better name for this. But this is, and this is something that Blanda would talk about too, but there is a very small section of land in between the ballpark and the creek that is owned by CSX Railroad. And for like 15 years, we were trying to get a lease from them so that we could remove all the junk and the trash that everybody dumps there and make it a little bit more of a walkable space, put some native plants. And it took forever, but after 15 years, we were finally able to get a long-term lease and some grants to cover the expense. And so now we are paying them to remove the trash that accumulates there. But we're going to add some like passive landscaping, maybe a pathway, a bench. But when there's games and other activity downtown and people are at Keystone Kids Space or parking at Smalls Field and they're cutting through, it'll feel more welcoming. It'll feel more safe. You're not going to be stepping over trash to get to the game. So this will just be a really nice entryway into the city that people will notice when it's done, but you've been kind of ignoring it for a really long time because it's been ugly for a very long time. So we're very excited. We need a better name for it though. And then United Way headquarters, not our project, but it's a really awesome thing that they've got going on. They're trying to get their downtown, trying to move their offices downtown. So this building, I'm sure you guys recognize it. They're in the middle. They're doing some fundraising, capital campaigning right now, but it seems to be going well. They did receive a grant from the land bank, and the total investment when it's all said and done is about 1.5 million. And you guys already know about this, but I mean, how can everybody not say thank you to the beautiful trees that are coming for downtown York? So we're very excited. You already know why they're being replaced, but just in case you didn't, this is why they're being replaced. Thank you. And I will go to you. Okay.
Thank you, Kim. Yeah. All right, so Northwest Triangle, anybody heard of that project? That site is now known as Heritage Crossing, being developed by statewide partners. If you've been by on Beaver Street, you've seen that work is well underway. In fact, I went by there a couple days ago and things are starting to go vertical. Phase 1 broke ground in October with a 6-story, I think actually 6.5-story. I think the top floor is going to feature a loft level. So a 6.5-story, 139 unit apartment building. It's being constructed with 20,000 square feet of commercial space on the first floor. You'll see framing up this summer with an anticipated opening date of spring of 2026. And the plan for future phases is expected to be released later this year. Penn Market, as you may or may not know, the RDA owns Penn Market at the intersection of, you guessed it, Penn Street and Market Street. We acquired Penn Market back during the Bracey administration, and planning has been taking place for several years on mass renovations that are sorely needed and long overdue. As it stands now, we're looking at a project budget of about $6.2 million to do everything we'd like to do, with about $3.2 million committed. $1.5 million of that, 3.2, is in the form of a RACP grant, with the rest made up of primarily various funding sources from the city. You can see some of the improvements. that are being debated, but we'd really love to find a grocer to occupy some of the space. There are 12,000 residents in the neighborhoods around Penn Market, many of who don't have reliable transportation. So where are they getting their groceries, or where are they having to go to get them? So a grocer would be desired, a true grocer where people are paying grocery store prices, not corner store prices. Next. Densply. 2 or so years ago, the RDA acquired the former Densply campus in tandem with York Realty Partners. YRP is an organization formed by CAM Construction out of Baltimore and Knight Street Capital from Rhode Island. This is a 17-acre site bounded by College Avenue to the north, Cadorus Creek to the south, with Grantley running right down the middle. Mixed-use development is being planned with 177 workforce housing units in buildings 1, 2, and 3. Are they labeled on there? Yes, you can see them there. Those buildings are the original historic building on the southeast corner of College and Grantley, with the other 2 buildings, the 2 immediately to the west of Grantley. Light demo has begun, with construction slated to begin this fall. A storage facility is being planned for building 5 on the eastern side of the site. That's the big warehouse with no windows in it, if you're familiar. Buildings 4, 5, and 6 in the middle are set to house 29,000 square feet of retail/commercial space with a courtyard in the middle. And on the various lots on the southern side of the site, up to 62 townhomes are being planned, some of which will be right up on the Greenway project that Kim spoke about. 1 North George Street is a 25,000 square foot building, was purchased from the RDA in 2022 by Oceans 10 Security, with a plan to relocate their offices from Asheville, North Carolina, and add significant hospitality space. Unfortunately, those plans have fallen through, and the property is back on the market for lease or for sale. Obviously, very key building, way on the square, beautiful architecture inside and out, ton of both opportunity and potential here. The Hope Street project, just a stone's throw away from Densply, is the Hope Street Garden property that for several years has been a community garden maintained by Lincoln Charter School. The land is now under agreement between the RDA and Foursquare's Development for the construction of 20 3-bedroom townhomes. This project is being funded by $3 million ARPA grant from the city for affordable and veteran housing. And the Pewterex building. In a more recent development, the RDA took title of the Pewterex building on West Philadelphia Street in partnership with LifePath. Demo has begun, and this is expected to be a $10 million project that will allow LifePath to consolidate their operations into a new facility that will create 35% more occupancy and allow them to expand their program offerings. This project was also funded by a $150,000 grant from the Land Bank Authority. And I think that's it for me. So I'll turn it back to Kim to finish up.
Like I said, these aren't all our projects, so I've got one for you on here, Dylan. But we've got the Feuder Brothers property, so this is something that Royal Square is heading up. Again, also a very key property on the square, so we're really excited to see something happening with it. Somebody's paying attention to it. So stay tuned. Hopefully there'll be some announcements this summer. And this is a snapshot of over 210 million in investment in all of these projects combined. So, some of these things are kind of hard to quantify, but especially, when we're talking about RDA and Land Bank and some of the programs, but when you take the investment into each one and the grants that come through and each of our entities acting as grant conduits for some of the state and federal funding, we end up with a really strong investment into the city. And this is just city development. This isn't even county. So we're very excited, a lot to come, a lot of really awesome projects, and they're all for the greater good. So we're very excited. I think that's it. So hopefully we have time for questions. Okay.
Thank you, guys. Terrific work. It's so exciting to see, and glad you're sharing. Can you say a little more about what you plan to have go into the ballpark commons? What will be there? You said you show a picture, but do you know more about what's going to be in that space?
Great question. So what we have planned is a 20,000 plus or minus square foot commercial retail space. So hopefully a restaurant that would be on the first floor with some outdoor dining, and then possibly some office space on the upper level that could support either the ballpark or other, just an office downtown. Thank you.
Thanks. Quick question. So as you're looking at that dense supply space, the traffic situation on Country Club has really become kind of unbearable on a daily basis. Is there a conversation going on at all with Spring Garden Township to do something with the roadways?
The dense plat campus, the involvement of the RDA and York Realty Partners is on the city side. So unfortunately, I don't have any answer for you for anything Spring Garden Township related.
My guess is there might have been a traffic study. We could check and find out and get it back to you. Is that fair to say? Okay.
So I've noticed in the last few years that there has been a lot of development in York City with Rural Square being a great partner in this. And this seems like an accelerant to all the good work that's already being done. I am equally impressed and overwhelmed, and I can't help but wonder, what is the catalyst that's causing all this development in York City again?
Well, one thing would be the generosity of former Governor Tom Wolf with all the RACP grants that he assigned to York. I don't know that a lot of these projects would be happening without it. So that's the catalyst that I would point to, that's spurring all this development.
If I could add to that, I think in addition to that, we have an excessive amount of RACP grants, which is awesome. I'm not complaining at all. But since they were all awarded, now they're all coming to fruition at the same time, it feels like, from an administrative standpoint. But in addition to that, we have such great partnerships, and like the strength in our partnerships, our philanthropic sponsors, our educational and healthcare, partnerships that we've got. All these projects would not come together if we didn't have those extra matching funds that match all of these things, because it doesn't come from the bank account. So.
It's a great portfolio. To what extent do projects within this portfolio in effect compete with each other for the same resources that run into capacity issues among the partners you're seeking to engage, which then create contingencies that can affect a timeline?
They do all compete. Eventually, if we time it right, we'll get them all done. But I mean, I'm looking at Joan, but the History Center project was happening at the same time as the hotel project was happening. And, a lot of our projects overlap on a regular basis. Thankfully, we've both been working on a lot of these things for going on 20 years. So we'll eventually get them done, but they do all compete. So you're not wrong. It is tough.
Thank you both for an excellent presentation, and this is very exciting stuff for the community. The housing element and several of these projects that you've lifted up is especially heartening. I think we all know the need for improved access and improved quantity of housing. But has there been study or conversation with the school district? I'm curious, just in terms of the impact of, if all of these units in all of these places were filled, what kind of an effect, positively or negatively, that will have on the school system?
Well, the obvious impact will raise the tax base. Various studies have been done, including by the YCEA and various other ones. And it may appear that the housing market is getting saturated, but these studies keep telling us there's a demand for more. So as long as there's that demand, I would expect the development to continue.
And he mentioned the recent study. The part of the York County's economic action plan was a housing study. And part of that housing study was, forming a committee and forming action items that come out of that. I can't speak to any of those off the cuff, but I'd be happy to share it with you. And there was probably an impact study done with the school district. And if I can find something, I'll send it over to you, Glenn. Thanks.
I'm old enough to remember that the Citizens Bank building was actually a bank.
I worked there when it was a bank.
What's been the sticking point with that property? There have been a number of really dramatic announcements by various developers for that property, and they all seem to kind of go kablooey at some point or another. And then what's the solution to whatever that sticking point is?
The reason for the most recent developer pulling out was cost. He had a budget, of course, for the project he wanted to do. His numbers came in double what he was budgeting. So he had to kind of adjust on the fly for a different project. And then, as I mentioned, talking about the building, the the owner that bought it from the RDA, his business is located in Nashville, North Carolina, which, as you may recall, got devastated by the hurricane last fall. So he was scrambling to relocate his operations, has gone to Knoxville, Tennessee now as a result of the hurricane. And I think it's just too much for him, at this point to proceed with the plans he had there.
But is there a long-term issue that just didn't crop up?
No, I don't think so. I think it is more circumstance. No issues with the building, anything like that. I think it just has been a circumstantial kind of thing.
If I could add, I would have answered the same question if you would have asked that about the post office. It's really challenging because both of those buildings are very unique and were built for a certain purpose and have the infrastructure for a certain operation that don't fit anything really easily. So to retrofit it into an adaptive reuse project is really challenging to try and then also adding an ADA accessibility and respecting the historic nature of all the features. But a bank and a post office are kind of similar where they have like these big vaulted ceilings and all this really glorious architecture and a really challenging layout that you can't just put anything in it without a lot of financial lift. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Kim and Mike, for sharing all the exciting things happening in downtown York. It's great to see so much progress and collaboration going into making our city even better. We appreciate you taking the time to keep us all in the loop. Rotarians, how about another round of applause for our speakers? As you all know, instead of giving the speakers a gift, we purchase a book and we ask them to sign the book plate and we donate it locally. This week's book will be donated to Jackson Elementary School in York City, along with a bookmark made by the students at Creative York. And after reflecting today from all the announcements and the speakers and everything that we had going on, it's really exciting to see our club living out our mission statement to improve life in the city of York between Mike and Kim's presentation, our activity with the Little League, and now the new tree project that Aaron announced. So hats off to all of our members for really stepping up and all the hard work that you all do as a Rotarian to help us live out our mission of improving life in the city of York. It's really impressive to see. Next week, we are holding our meeting at Wellspan Park, where we will enjoy some ballpark favorite foods and warm up for the 2025 York Revolution season. Eric Menzer will be our starting pitcher, and the lineup includes the Atlantic League president, Rick White, and Revs manager, Rick Forney, and new Revolution president, Ben Shipley, who will talk to us about all things baseball. So looking forward to seeing you all at the ballpark. If you've not registered, there's still time. You can do it today. This meeting is now adjourned.